Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Professional People Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Diederich, and I'm very excited to have on this week Charles Saliard from Keller Williams of Novi. Charles and I are in the same networking group and have been for about over a year, and he is someone I look up to and view as a mentor, so I'm super excited to have him on and let him share his story with you all and give you some good advice in the real estate market. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Professional People Podcast. I'm very excited to have on a good friend of mine, Charles Saliard from Keller Williams of Novi. Charles, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dan. Excited, man.
I'm excited to have you on. And I know a lot about your background and your story, but why don't you catch everybody up to par and who's listening on kind of your background and how you got to Keller Williams today?
Yeah, so residential real estate, been doing it about 10 years now. My background's in hospitality. Right out of college, moved to Charleston, South Carolina. Worked in hotel management for 5.5, 6 years. Realized it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life there. So we was going to be two paths. I was either going to be a commercial pilot or a real estate agent. And a friend of mine was a pilot at the time, talked me out of it. So here I am, 10 years later, residential real estate. Been at Keller Williams. We partnered my business there with those guys in Novi about a year and a half ago. Was with the Century 21 office for 8 years, and then a small office over in Troy as soon as I got my license for a very short period of time. So kind of brings us to where we are here today.
Yeah, very nice. And you have a little bit of team working for you as well, right? So it's you and you have a couple of staff working as well?
Yeah, so in this market that we're in, it's, anybody that's either tried to buy or sell a house or knows anybody working in real estate understands it. It's been kind of crazy. So for us to grow and to be able to grow in the format that we want to be able to deliver an awesome service to our clients. So we feel in order to do it right, we've got to have people involved in helping me. It's one person. It's really kind of a tough task. So we've got a full-time buyer's agent on our team. We've got an assistant working in the back end, keeping my buyer's agent and I organized and really trying to deliver that awesome client experience. So as time goes, we're looking to grow. We've kind of got a 5-year plan of what we want to look like. So we're in the process.
That's awesome. And just so everyone is clear, you mentioned residential real estate, but kind of what area and what kind of buyers and sellers are you kind of working with?
Sure. So a lot of our business is referral based. So we don't really have any geographic parameters that we look at and say, we service this area, we don't service this area. We'll go just about anywhere in Southeast Michigan. If it's kind of outside of our wheelhouse, we've got great referral partners that we can refer that business out to. Our main client that we want to assist is somebody that's looking to buy or sell a home. I think we do really well with people that have a home, want to sell that house and either buy up, downsize, but they're in that time of transition and they're looking to they need the assistance on how do we navigate this process of selling one home, buying another. I think we do really well with that. So that would be our ideal client, is somebody who needs to do both. I think we can really provide an awesome service for those people. So that's kind of our wheelhouse. Anywhere in Metro Detroit, people that need to buy and sell, we're a pretty good fit with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. You had some pretty good success last year in 2020, won some awards. How many families, I know you got the number, how many families did you help buy and sell their home last year?
We did 38 families last year. We did last year, 2020, as crazy of a year as it was, from a volume business was the best year that we've had. We're looking at 2021 here is even progressing from there. We're on track to exceed our numbers from last year. So it's been kind of a crazy time. I mean, we've had to navigate this whole pandemic like everyone else, and it's been crazy, but from our standpoint, it's been rewarding.
Yeah, well, how can you kind of alluded to it earlier, when the pandemic hit, it kind of shook out the market, it made it crazy. What have you seen since last year? And then what do you think's changing in the perspective in the market coming into this year?
So we've got crazy low inventory levels. Going back about a year ago now, right? This stuff really kind of hit in the middle of March last year. So we were kind of in a position of uncertainty. Like everybody else, we weren't really sure what was going to happen. We were shut down until May 8th was the day, kind of our opening day, so to speak, where we could go back out and show homes in person. So there was about a month and a half period of time where we weren't really sure what was going to happen, and a lot of our clients that we were working with, had put listing their homes on hold, and wanted to see how things played out, and I think with the help of historically low interest rates, it kept buyers interested in the market. And when we were able to go back in May, homes were selling, and I think we saw more and more people feeling comfortable to list their homes, and these things are going pretty quick. So it's a really fast-paced market. We've got to respond really quickly. I think technology is far more important now than ever before, in leveraging that technology, whether it be photos and drones and virtual tours and doing whatever we need to do to get as many eyeballs on it as we can. So it's just reacting quickly and using the technology that's at our fingertips.
That's interesting. And from not only just being able to use those like videos from the drones and pictures from the drones as like ways to show people you're working with directly, but how has that on a broader scale helped you from, posting content out on social media and stuff like that? Have you seen positive results from doing that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's really all about eyeballs, right? So, being able to utilize those photos and those videos that we have, it's something that we do. We'll take all of our listings that we have, and we'll boost them. We'll put them on Facebook and other various social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, things like that. We absorb that cost. It's not an additional cost to our clients, and then we can track that and see how many eyeballs are seeing those. And on average, we're getting between 10 and 20,000 people are seeing those properties on social media platforms. So it's a great way for us to get exposure. A great way for our clients' homes to get exposure. So definitely utilizing the social media and those videos any way we can, for sure.
Other than that, the social media and video aspect, what other things are you providing as an agent that puts yourself and your clients ahead of the pack with this crazy market and so many people looking to buy houses in the low inventory?
I think it's experience that we're bringing to the table. In the way that we set our business up, our goal is to deliver a really cool experience. Buying or selling a home in this market can be crazy and it can be stressful. Our goal is to make that fun, right? Like it should be exciting if you're buying your first home or you want to downsize out of a home that you raised your family in, and you want to find something that's a little more conducive to your lifestyle now. That should be a fun experience. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're obviously bringing our professionalism to the table in our experience that we have, but we pride ourselves on communicating, pride ourselves on delivering a really cool experience for our clients. That's our goal of what we're trying to do. So using all of that technology and everything that we have and the experience that we have, our buyer's agent on our team, she's got 20 plus years of experience. So I think we've got a lot of good experience that we bring to the table and can really represent our clients well.
I 100% agree. And I think, from working with you from the insurance end with your clients, what I've heard from them, a lot of them are mutual friends of ours,
Sure.
but also just from regular people I don't know, is what they've told me is that your communication is A+. So I think that goes a long way, especially with so many people trying to buy houses right now. And I know I've heard nothing but good things from your clients.
That's good. No, it's good. It's good to hear. And it's key. I mean, we just ask people, like, what do you want? What are your goals? What do you want to achieve from this? And how can we best serve you? I think a lot of times just asking the client the question, and then following up on it. And you see it probably in your industry. I don't think our industry is any different. there's good agents, there's bad agents, there's people that communicate well and people that don't, and we like to be the ones that do communicate well. I think that's probably 90% of the process.
Yeah, I think along with communication, a piece of that is education too,
Sure.
right? So I think, we've talked about it. If for people who don't know, we met in a B&I group, a networking group, and we've been friends for over a year. And so we work a lot mutually with our clients. And I think that we both do a good job. And I've known from watching your presentations and, like I said, working with your clients, is they're educated of what's going on, not only throughout the process, but what they're buying from. And you have referral sources too, to put them. You need insurance for your closing, I can plug you with Dan. I can plug you with Troy for your mortgage. How has that been beneficial for you in helping your clients and having those referral partners through B&I?
Sure, and I keep going back to it. I've said it a couple of times. It's about that experience, right? And we have this unique position as being the real estate agent. We're kind of the air traffic controller, so to speak, in that transaction. And people are coming to us and they don't know what title insurance is or what their involvement is, or everybody knows they have to have homeowners insurance, but when do you do it and how do you do it and who's the best qualified to provide that? So they look to us, and say, well, home inspectors, homeowners insurance, contractors, moving companies, they look to us to do that. And for me to have a good network of people that I feel comfortable relying, and referring out to my clients is key. It provides value to me. It makes that experience a better experience for that client. And then it also, it gives that client a reason to continue to reach out past closing. It's a big thing for us is when we close, we're like, this isn't the end. This is just the start of a relationship where we're here to assist you any way we can. And a lot of times it's the client reaching out to us saying, hey, who do you know for flooring? Who's your painter? Who's this? Who's that? And for me to have that network of people and B&I being a big part of that network, it provides a great value for me to pass along to my clients. It's key.
Yeah, I've seen the same kind of value. And on top of that, just a shameless B&I plug is that the friendships that you make in B&I is that you're referring out people that you believe in and trust, like you're talking about. So if anyone's looking for a networking group to join, let me or Charles know.
For sure. And there's accountability with that too, right, Dan?
Yeah.
It's you can't drop the ball. Things happen and mistakes happen, and sometimes there's not much we can do about it, but there's an accountability factor. And I think when you're a part of a networking organization like that, that's a big part of it, is that accountability. So I love it for sure.
Absolutely, me too. And I love hanging out with you. And that's the biggest benefit of being.
You get to hang out and have a lunch and maybe a pop every now and again.
Yeah, there you go. How about for going back to more of the educational piece for people looking to buy or sell their home? Let's start with people looking to sell their home.
Sure.
What's some pieces of advice that you would give to people thinking about it coming up for this spring and summer season?
Yeah, well, so we hear, everybody hears, okay, well, the real estate market's going crazy, right? Like people start to think, well, does it matter the agent I have? Do I even need to have a real estate agent? Can I do it by owner? And going back, I alluded to it just a minute ago, the idea of being an air traffic controller. Right now in this market, anybody probably can get, attraction towards your house. It's a matter of getting that home to the closing table and getting it there at the highest net, for the seller. So my advice is professional in, get their feedback, get their advice, make sure you feel comfortable with them, and find out what the best path is to getting the greatest net, in a time frame that's acceptable to that seller. So, get a professional in there, go through the numbers, really get an idea of what your home, how it fits in this market, and put a plan together, is my advice for sure.
And I know that just from working with you and hearing some of your presentations that sometimes that plan is you coming out there and just taking a look at the house and say, you don't really need to do a huge project to add some value here. You just got to tidy up, put some paint, and make it look sharp.
Right. So it's about the highest net, and it doesn't always make sense to do a $20,000 project to net out 25,000, right? What's your net on that? 5, right? But if we can find little projects where maybe you spend $500, maybe you spend $1,000, but it's going to net you 5, then maybe that one makes a little bit more sense and they're a little easier to do. Some of these things you can do yourself, fresh coats of paint go a really long way. My secret we'll pass out here on the podcast is just a really thorough deep clean. If you do nothing, do a deep clean. Toothbrush to the grout kind of deep clean, and it just sets your house apart from that home, down the street that didn't take that extra step. And maybe they redid the kitchen and they did a backsplash and it's got some bells and whistles, but it's not necessarily clean and showroom ready. Whereas if you do the deep clean, you're going to come out ahead. So that would be one thing I would definitely recommend. But yeah, we look for those little projects that you can do to increase the net without having to spend a bunch of money.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and something might be a misconception that some people might have is that they have to do these huge projects.
Sure. Well, and the market may not like your project, right? It may be something that you like, and you can spend $50,000 and redo your kitchen, and the buyer may come in there and think it's ugly, which is not what we want. We want to appeal to the masses. So I think you're better off taking that $50,000 and spending that on the next house, and let's find a way to make yours look pretty without spending.
Make you enjoy the spending
the cash,
money,
for sure. Right? Yeah, for sure.
How about on the flip side of that? What kind of advice would you give to buyers right now who are facing that low inventory struggle?
You have to align with a professional in this industry, and I think we all know there's. Everybody's got a cousin's buddy, right, who's in real estate. Everybody has a parent that has a realtor, that they know. And sometimes those people are great realtors. There's a lot of really good ones out there. But it is more important now more than ever to make sure that you are aligned with a professional that can react quickly, in this market, and then structure an offer that's going to position you to be the winning offer in a multiple offer situation. We're seeing a lot of homes right now that the asking price is just kind of the starting point and everything goes up from there. So understanding how to structure an offer to get you to the winning bid and to the closing table. You got to be with a professional for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy how much I've been hearing that people are paying above asking price. What do you think about that? Can you kind of allude more on in your thoughts?
Well, it's just weird. We're in this weird market that it's actually beneficial, I think, to both buyers and sellers, right? Obviously the higher the price goes, it's beneficial to a seller. That's great. That, seller makes more money.
Right.
But it's not totally one-sided because of these interest rates where they're at, and they fluctuate here. They're up and they're down, but historically they're low. If here up until the last couple of weeks we were under 3%. We're seeing that they're right around 3% now, which historically is an awesome interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that means to a buyer is that's buying power. If it compared to having a 30-year fixed interest rate over 4.5%, which historically isn't a bad number. If you can get in at 3%, that's allowing you to be able to go $20,000-$30,000 higher than you would if you had a higher interest rate, and your monthly payment that's fixed is lower, or the equivalent, even if you're spending $20,000 or $30,000. So it really can be a win-win for both the buyer and the seller. Especially if you're a person like our wheelhouse is working with people that have that existing home that need to sell it, and then they're going to buy another one. They can kind of win on both sides of the deal, right? They're winning as a seller, and then they're able to move into another house with a really low interest rate, keeping their payment down, even if they have to pay $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over asking price.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had a question with all of this, like the bidding wars kind of going on here. We've talked a lot about all the benefits that a good real estate agent can bring to you at the table in this market. Can you give some forewarnings of what could go wrong if you don't align yourself with the right professional in these kinds of situations?
Well, at the very least, you can waste a lot of time, right? You can waste a lot of time. You can get frustrated with this whole process. And we see it all the time. I had a conversation with with a couple over the weekend who had been working with a couple of different real estate agents for about a year, and they were feeling frustrated that they weren't, receiving the communication. They would see houses and weren't able to get into them. These homes would be going under contract before they even had an opportunity to get into it. So frustration levels rise when you're working with somebody who's not in a position to communicate. And sometimes honestly, it's not the agent's fault. It's hard. It's hard out there right now. If you're, a smaller operation like we are, or you're a one person operation and you're working with 10 or 15 different clients in this market right now, it's hard to give that attention to that individual client. So I think it's important when a consumer is getting ready to get into the real estate market now, ask those questions up front. Make sure that agent is going to be able to communicate at a level that's going to meet the satisfaction of that client. So it's all about setting expectations and communicating. I think is what separates the agents that are really successful in this market and some of them that are struggling.
And I know that we talked about it, that you do a good job of communicating and educating and doing all those things. So if anyone wants to buy or sell their home, what's the best way to reach out to you to get in touch?
Well, we've got, we're on Facebook. We've got our website out there. So you can find me on Facebook, Charles Saliard. Our website is charlessaliard.com. Of course, we've got phone, email, all of that stuff. I'm sure we can get that out there. So
yeah, you can always reach out to me. I got his contact info too. Yeah. Charles, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and getting this tips and advice out to everyone. I just want to take a second on the podcast to say how much I appreciate you and how much have you been a mentor of me over the last year. And I'm just so happy that we could get you on and make this happen.
Awesome.
And, one way we always end the podcast is one tip you have for professional people out there.
Keep grinding, and we've hit it a number of times here the last few minutes, is communicate, right? Set expectations and communicate.
I think that's great advice, and I think that's been a great podcast. Thanks so much for coming on, and thanks everyone for listening.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. And remember, keep it professional, people.